Yo, what's up, guys? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody's weekend's going well. It's good to see you, as always. I don't know, man. Do a little bit of Gwent, a little bit of Flyers. Probably try to make a new deck or maybe improve the one that we've got going. Um, have a nice, chill Sunday, man. Relax, hang out, have some good times, as always. Uh, After we take care of our video gaming news segment. Cool. So let's go ahead and hop in here. Let's get the video gaming news up and running. How about that? Pull this over. Sorry. There we go. Let's go. Perfect. um, Indonesia has barred users in the country from accessing Steam, Epic Games, PayPal, Yahoo, and more after companies failed to do something. Let's see what that's about. Um, Video game industry has a COVID hangover. Well, I'm not real big on reading this on Yahoo Finance, I don't think, but we'll take a look and see what it has to say. I mean, we've seen a lot of gamer. What's up, buddy? There you go, man. How are you, dude? You still rocking out on some FF7 today, dude? Um, to say that the gaming industry has a COVID hangover, I find it is, to me, a bit of a weird way to go about addressing what is going on in the gaming industry right now. The fact of the matter is, the gaming industry thrived basically during the pandemic. Many people had to stay home. They were not able to go out and engage in face to face communication. You know, and so what a lot of people did was they found themselves in a situation where they turned to virtual communities, and a big part of virtual communities are online gaming communities. So the video game industry really found themselves in a spot where while there are also parts of the industry that suffered, such as game development, there are parts of the industry that also thrived during the COVID pandemic. And over the past couple of years, the gaming industry has absolutely just exploded. I mean, they've continued to, uh, it's continued to make a ton of money. What we have seen is that profit margins from the beginning of 2021 to this point in 2022 have declined significantly. Oh, cool, dude. Oh no, right on, man, right on. Oh, dude, the nostalgia vibes with all that. It's so wild. Dude, we might have to go back and play it on stream at some point. If we can ever find time. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. The But the fact of the matter is, they're still making a lot of money in the gaming industry as a whole. The gaming industry as a whole is still profiting to a large extent, a great extent. Um, is it getting back to maybe realistic um, expectations for what the industry should be doing? Yes. Is that probably bringing some developers back to reality in regards to what they can expect moving forward, yes, probably so. It's been a pretty good year as far or pretty good stretch of the past couple of years, 2.5 years for the gaming industry as far as profit goes. So I don't know that we're going to need to jump into this necessarily. We'll see what it has to say, but yes, profits are down from what they were last year, but the industry as a whole is still very profitable. That's what people need to understand. The industry is not losing money; it's still very profitable. You know. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. I know that's tough, man. So we'll take a quick peek and see what it has to say. But we're already pretty aware. We've seen a lot of this stuff regarding the industry and how it's doing things like that. Amazon Prime Gaming 6 free games for August revealed. I'm pretty sure we hit on what these are. Let's see if there's anything new that was added. No, nope. There's the games right there. If you didn't catch our segment about this, there it is in chat as well. And you have Prime Gaming. These are the free games right here, okay? StarCraft, Zack McCracken, Beasts of Marvilla Island, Recompile, Scourgebringer, Family Mysteries, Poisonous Promises. There they are. I just linked it in chat. I'm not going to rehash it. We've already kind of hit on it. I just wanted to make sure they didn't add it, or there weren't some titles that we didn't hit on before, but that looks like what we had already seen. Read about Space War being on Analog Pocket yesterday, as well as um, there being a bit of jailbreaking going on with the device, so you can actually use it as an emulator. Whereas the device specifically is manufactured in a way that it's just a piece of hardware that's meant, specifically designed to be utilized as a piece of hardware that runs old handheld cartridges, vintage handheld cartridges, right? Um, I don't think it is surprising that it has been jailbroken. Everything gets jailbroken in this day and age. Dr. Disrespect's game is called Dead Drop. Watch some early footage. We'll see right there, see what's going on. I can tell you, I'm already a bit turned off by what that by that title, that development company, because of the whole NFT stuff they're trying to push through it and get people. You can get early access to the, you can be part of the beta if you just buy an NFT, and instead of finding a cool way to reward people that have been part of that community, that are fans of that individual, fans of what that game potentially would be, find a way to incorporate as many people as possible into the beta. It was like, if you want to be a part of this, you need to pay up, baby. You know, and that feels bad. So, but we'll take a look. Yeah, we talked about TikTok. They're adding games to their service as well, like many other companies are doing, pivoting into gaming. So we've talked about it. Not going to dive into it today. Yeah, yesterday we hit on the fact that Google is basically denying the fact that they are shutting down Stadia, right? Their cloud gaming service. So if you're interested, well, I'm not going to dive into that today either. We hit on it yesterday. Go check out yesterday's news segment on YouTube if you want an extended look at what Google has to say. Might not have much this morning. Sundays tend to be a little bit bleak more often than not with the news, and that's fine. We find a lot of news throughout the week. So if a Sunday's bleak from time to time, it's all right. Again, we saw this yesterday too. I'm not going to read this entire thing, but Republic and its VR version are free on Steam right now. So if you are not aware, these games are now free on Steam. So go grab these, okay? I did not mean to do that. There we go. And news. And let's get back there. There we go. Fat clickings. Fat clickings. We watched this yesterday. That was pretty wild. There's a new game coming out, and Johnny Depp. So they came out with an entire trailer for the game, but literally the trailer shows no gameplay. What's the name of this game? We watched this yesterday as well. If you want to see the entire me read through this article and watch the trailer and everything for this game, the game is called where's it at? Sea of Dawn. Sea of Dawn. Pull up something real quick. Um, yeah, I don't know. When is this set? This game set to release when? Yeah, it's out now in China for PC and mobile. US and Europe release is scheduled for later this year. Okay. So depending on where you're at in the world, you might have access right now, you might not. But we did watch this yesterday. It was actually really good. And it's a bit of a contrast from what you usually see with a lot of video game trailers, which makes sense because a lot of times with video game trailers, what you're wanting to take a look at is gameplay, right? And at the very least, what you usually end up getting is some cutscene cinematic kind of stuff. Whereas they went all out and just did an absolute like live action, like 4.5 minute trailer with Johnny Depp portraying this blind, pirate-esque merchant. It was really funny, and but you don't get to see any gameplay or anything either, which is a little bit rough. You would like to see at least a little bit of what the game has to offer. But it was a good trailer nonetheless. And again, if you want a more in-depth read as to what this article has to offer and what the trailer is, because we watched the entire trailer on the news segment yesterday as well, go take a look at yesterday's news segment, July 30th news segment on YouTube, okay? This is, dude, the stuff that keeps coming out about like games like GTA 6. We're a long ways away from GTA 6 right now, you know. Um I don't see GTA 6 coming to us anytime within like the next half year or anything like that, you know. It's like every single day we do the news segment, there's like right here GTA 6 insider leaks uh Caribbean part of map, you know, and it's just nonstop. And I get it, man. There's a lot of hype around that game, but trying to constantly have articles come up regarding stuff like that, where you people have to remember that whenever a game is in development, there is always the potential for things to change before it even gets released. So to take something like this and like even if it is an official piece of the game that right at this point where it is in its development state, that does not mean that it's going to be that way when the game releases and stuff. So it's just wild. Every single day there's stuff about GTA 6, and a lot of times it doesn't even seem worth diving into. It's just the immense amount of hype that is surrounding that game at this point, you know. PlayStation's losing 3 console exclusives to Xbox. Take a look. Let's pivot here. Read about God Killer yesterday as well. New video game adaptation coming out. Ayakash, the individual that played um, in The Boys for Stormfront, played Stormfront in The Boys, is going to be voice acting the lead role in that game. Read about that yesterday. If you want to, again, yesterday's news segment on YouTube, if you want a deeper look at that, okay? Yep. Mm hmm. Dr. Disrespect's Call of Duty competitors getting destroyed. We'll keep this up with the other article we have to look at for Dr. Disrespect's new game. New Tomb Raider revealed. Project Jawbreaker. Um, remember, Square Enix no longer owns Tomb Raider IP. Um, this is now owned by Embracer Group as of earlier this year when Embracer Group bought the rights to Thief, Deus Ex, and Tomb Raider from Square Enix, along with all the North American Square Enix gaming, their North American development studios. Uh, so this is an Embracer Group game now, and it's gonna be exciting to see what they bring to the table uh, in regards to their vision for what Tomb Raider is for the future, or what the future holds for Tomb Raider, I guess is a better way to state it. Let's take a look. MTV is still doing music video awards. I didn't even know MTV was still a channel. Or still a thing. I definitely don't think their name should be music television because I don't think they've been doing anything in line with what that name means for a very long time, which is wild. All they've done forever is reality TV stuff. I'm surprised they're even still moving at this point. Which I haven't like had cable or anything for a long time either, so I don't know. That might be why I'm not all that aware. All right, I found a couple. There were a couple of articles. One second. I think I had a couple of other articles that I wanted to pull up real quick. Let's see if I can grab these. I found them last night. There's one. Oh yeah. Talk about this one real quick too. Okay. So these articles that I'm pulling up were some things that I saw on Twitter that I thought would be good to talk about real quick. Um, so Elden Ring fans are still begging From Software to fix the broken multiplayer months later. That's very pertinent. Also, save Minecraft, cry players after Mojang starts moderating private servers. This is important to talk about. Quite often we discuss the fact that it's important for developers to, in my opinion, take a very, very dedicated stance at trying to eliminate discriminatory hate speech. Uh, anybody that violates their terms of service in a live service game or playing on servers, that kind of stuff. That's a great thing to be doing, right? At the same time, and especially in any kind of game that appeals to a younger audience, uh, to more youthful audience, um, I think it's a very good idea that there are some moderation settings in place for servers to be created around that can prevent younger audiences from being exposed to certain types of content. Um, I think that's good. I think that's actually an excellent play. But we saw an article come up here recently that talked about how Mojang was going to start incorporating some moderation onto their servers. And what I think is very important to bring up is that Minecraft, while yes, it does appeal to children, it also has a large population of adults that play the game. And while I do feel that it's probably well overdue that they've incorporated some moderating for the ability to have moderation on servers to prevent or to, you know, eliminate some of the more maybe vulgar, profane things that can be experienced on a server. That way, if there are going to be younger audiences involved, it can keep them away from that. At the same time, for those servers that don't want to have that option, I think that should absolutely be there because not everybody wants that to be moderated, right? Again, anything that has to do with discrimination or hate speech or anything like that, it shouldn't be allowed as a whole. But I do think that when a server's created, it should be able to be created in a way that a certain amount of moderation should be a setting that you can toggle on or off, rather making it either more adult or child appropriate. And we'll see what. And we talked about that when we saw the article that Mojang was going to be coming out and starting all this moderation process. So we'll see what this has to say. Stay with this. Stay with this, and we'll get into some Gwent. Probably try to make a new deck today or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. New Tomb Raider revealed. Project Jawbreaker. You thought Laura. What did it say? Craft. Think again, the upcoming Laura Croft game, codenamed Project Jawbreaker, has just been revealed, and it sounds promising. Here's everything we know so far about the new Laura Croft game. Must have been just a misspelling, but come on, editors. Laura Croft is one of the most iconic video game characters of all time, but the Tomb Raider franchise has been in terminal decline since the 2000s. Perhaps a sequel that takes a very different approach can save the franchise. That's what the devs of the new Tomb Raider are hoping. Gameplay details leaked. Just hours ago, insider Melanie Mack leaked everything she knew about the upcoming Laura Croft game on Twitter. She then offered her own opinion on how the project was going. But before we get to that, here are the key details about the new game. Codenamed Jawbreaker, grounded tone with fantastical elements, casting authentic British voice actor in her 30s, 5'6", athletic. Lara is experienced with years of protecting artifacts and adventures. Familial drama has been left behind. Laura's adventures reached tabloids, media, and inspired a new generation of Tomb Raiders. Lara Croft struggles with loneliness now. Laura encounters a mysterious cataclysm she cannot fix alone. She works with a team of Tomb Raiders. We don't yet have a release date for or any further details about the gameplay. We will, of course, update you as soon as we hear more from the publishers. Sounded pretty much in line with what you'd expect from a new Tomb Raider to me, but the insider who leaked this has only had negative things to say about the project, as she put it. My opinions, this sounds absolutely terrible. Lara should never be working with a team, and making her lonely and a protector of artifacts goes against everything she was created to be. Lara thrived being alone, and she pursued artifacts from selfish ambition and thrill. This isn't Lara Croft or Tomb Raider. My best hope at this point is for all of this to be scrapped, but probably not going to happen since Embracer seems to be giving Crystal Dynamics free reign. I can understand why Melanie Mack might dislike these elements of the story, but I can't say that I personally hate the idea of a Tomb Raider team. They could give each member of the team a different specialization that might allow them to make more interesting puzzles. What do you think? Would you prefer Laura to work independently, or is this a bad idea for the franchise? Um, yeah, there are going to be people that hate on this, right? No doubt about it. There are going to be people that hate on this because there are a lot of Tomb Raider fans out there, and this is altering what Lara has traditionally been known for throughout all storylines and Lara Croft lore, as it were, uh, traditionally. But here's the thing, and you're going to see, we're seeing more and more of this. Some of these older titles that have gone through many iterations, and a lot of these developers are at the point where they feel like if it's been an amount of time since the last one, or if there's been a significant change, like there has been here with Embracer Group taking over, it's maybe a good time to refresh this a series, right? I mean, we're seeing it right now with Saints Row, and this might be Embracer's kind of way to take this and let it turn into something new, and maybe be a bit refreshing, and see if it is something that um, people will gravitate towards in regards to a bit of a new, fresh version of Lara Croft and the Tomb Raider series. So I don't know. I don't. I'm kind of like middle of the road on it. I've never been a huge Tomb Raider fan. I've always respected the title and the series for what it is. I've played a few of them here and there, but I think to just immediately off the bat, just like without to only hear what a vague explanation of what they have planned base for the game, and then to come out and go, this is never going to work, this is terrible, without giving it a chance is kind of closed-minded. I understand how tilting it can be to take a game and what it's been traditionally and kind of tip it on its head lore-wise, and I understand it's going to be very tilting for some people, but this is something that devs are kind of going to be looking to do with a lot of older titles. It's just the way it is. Sometimes these titles need to have a bit of a refresher, and a lot of times what's going to need to be done is to have the lore changed, and certain things about what the game is always kind of stuck to is going to need to be different to appeal to maybe a new audience, and trying to that's the thing that's hard, I think, for a developer, is trying to find a way to both still stick with bringing in the old crowd, right, that has always loved this character and loved a title in a game, and also appeal to maybe a newer audience as well, right? So and I think that might be what they're trying to do. So we'll see. We'll get more. We'll get more as time moves forward, and we more information comes out regarding the new Tomb Raider series. PlayStation's losing 3 console exclusives to Xbox. Uh, PlayStation is losing not one, not two, but 3 console exclusives to Xbox consoles. In other words, 3 games that can only be played on PC, PS4, and PS5 are coming to Xbox One, Series S, and X. The first of these 3 games, and probably the most notable, is The Pathless, an action-adventure game developed by Giant Squid. The Pathless was released back in November of 2020 and a PS5 launch game. Depending on the platform, its Metacritic scores range from 77 to 81. Yeah, we did talk about this. Become the Hunter, a master archer who travels to a mystical island to dispel a curse of darkness that grips the world. Reads an official blurb for the game. Soar through the air and forge a connection with your eagle companion. Perform fluid acrobatics, and execute awesome trick shots with a unique archery system that allows effortless shooting while moving at high speeds. The God Slayer won't rest till the world is destroyed. Your bond with your eagle and the fate of the world hang in the balance. Second game is Solar Ash, which debuted back in December 2nd of 2021 via developer Heart Machine. Science fiction action adventure game. It boasts a 78 on Metacritic. From the creators of the award-winning Hyperlight Drifter comes the high-speed and gravity-bending world of Solar Ash. Reads an official description of the game. Set amidst a surreal dreamscape filled with the long-abandoned ruins of great civilizations past, you play as Ri, a void runner determined to stop at nothing to save her planet from falling prey to the Ultra Void's path of eternal hunger. Fight through mobs of grotesque creatures, grind rails with sheer delight, grapple to wild heights, take down enormous bosses, and surf the ashen clouds of shattered, bygone worlds swallowed by the void. Third and final game is Maquette, from developer Graceful Decay. It was also released in 2021, but on March 2nd, and at the time of release, it was given out for free via PS Plus. A puzzle game adventure, it boasts Metacritic scores ranging from 70 to 71, depending on platform. Maquette is a first-person recursive puzzle game that takes you into a world where every building, plant, and object are simultaneously tiny and staggeringly huge. Reads an official blurb for the game. Maquette makes it possible by twisting the world into itself recursively in an MC Escher-esque fashion. My favorite artist of all time, by the way, MC Escher. So that's kind of wild. So when are all these games coming to Xbox consoles? Don't know exactly. Publisher Annapurna Interactive has provided a release window of Q4 of this year, meaning between October and December. But that's all they've said. So there you go. So these games are no longer going to be exclusive to PlayStation and are going to be moving to Xbox as well, okay? Okay, let's get into this. We got a couple of articles regarding the new title coming out from Dr. Disrespect's gaming studio, right? The game is called Dead Drop. And what we had read previously was obviously what we know about the game. Again, a lot of people were pretty annoyed and turned off by the fact that in early development of this, they came out and basically said, if you want to be a part of beta testing this, all you got to do is pay $50 and you can be a part of the beta. And, this is what it was. It was pay $50 for an NFT and you can become part of the beta. That's kind of the way it was twisted, I think. So not only was it trying to play into the whole NFT stuff, which many devs and people within the gaming industry are just solely against, and I am one. But it also was like trying to get people to pay to be a part of the beta testing of the game, which just feels bad. You want people to play the game and test it so that you can make the game the best possible product. Get feedback from players on things they experience, good and bad, so you can continue to work on the game and make it the best possible product on its release, as well as to test things on the developer side of things, servers, things like that, especially because this is a live service competitive kind of game, right? You want people in that beta. So making them pay to be a part of it just feels bad. So outside of that, what we kind of have heard about the game and what it is supposed to be is obviously an FPS, but kind of a mashup between some Call of Duty stuff and some Escape from Tarkov gameplay. So on that note, let's see what we can gather from these two articles we have pulled up this morning. It's only got an assault rifle so far, which is nobody's favorite FPS weapon type. Midnight Society, the development studio founded by Dr. Disrespect, has revealed the name and some background details about the multiplayer FPS formerly known as Project Moon. It's called Dead Drop, and according to the Midnight Society website, it's set in the year 2020.B, when self-governed megastructures called refiner states turn toxic atmospheric pollutants into a valuable addictive substance called space dust. The summary goes on, once government-owned facilities, the lucrative dust trade has now led... It's literally just taken out of Dune, isn't it? Cheers. Has now led to the forced occupation of refiner states by competing factions fighting for control of the towers and the resources inside. Players will presumably take the role of members of those factions, the skins and sins, who fight each other, and the cleaners who currently control the refiner state skyscrapers. A vertical extraction shooter, Dead Drop will be about collecting gear and resources as you fight your way up the tower, trying to survive so you can extract with whatever you've looted. Then you use that to fund your next trip. It sounds like Escape from Tarkov with a cyberpunk makeover. Dead Drop raised funding by selling, here you go, $50 Founders Access Passes that give players access to 6 weekly snapshot builds from their early stages of its development. The first of these, called Snapshot CL 1859, is out now. Founders can download it to explore their hideout and test an assault rifle across 3 shooting ranges. It is, of course, incredibly early in the development process, so most of what you can see in the videos uploaded by players is likely to change. Games don't normally get shown publicly this early on, and Dead Drop is a perfect example of why that is. There's barely anything to see. Excuse me. Nothing to get excited about, unless you're one of the more easily impressed streamers who have jumped on the bandwagon. Quote, the focus of this build was to establish the foundation of core player movement, weapon systems, and to introduce an environment in which to test the first weapon. Midnight Society says, in addition, Snapshot CL 1859 marks the beginning of authentication, profile account, dedicated server support, and code to support future Dead Drop multiplayer functionality. New snapshots will be released every 6 weeks. At the moment, the only people who can try them out are those 10,000 players who sprung for a Founders Access Pass, which came with a procedurally generated NFT of a character who serves as their in-game avatar. More rounds of passes and NFTs will be made available later on. Yeah, so there you go. Who knows? Maybe this will turn into the next. Why can't I think of the name of that game right now? The space exploration game that you know they keep doing stuff like this too. Oh, dude, why can't I think of the name of that game? They have made so much money off of people at this point, and the game has been in development since like early 20 teens, and was supposed to be released in like 2014, 2015, I think, full release, and it's still just nowhere. They've got some like modules you can play, I think, stuff like that. But they just keep like making new ships for people to buy and put money into the game, and I don't know. Hopefully this doesn't turn into the same thing, but this is the I mean I don't know, dude. Here's what I'm worried about. I really don't want to be watching any content that has anything to do. No, 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 not Eden. God, now I'm gonna. Star Citizen. Star Citizen. That's the one I was thinking of. Thanks for trying though, gamer. Yeah. Star Citizen's the one I was thinking of. Yeah. This is again, if you're not familiar with Star Citizen, we've talked about this in the channel before. Yeah, this game was announced on October 12th, or October of 2012. Excuse me, October of 2012, and the Kickstarter drew over $2 million. Okay, Kickstarter 2 million. Um, it was slated for a release. Yeah, the launch of the game was originally anticipated for 2014, right? Like I said, 2014 release. It still has not been in. It's still not full released. 2022. We're talking 8 years later. It's still not full release. They have modules you can play, and the amount of money that they've made at this point. In addition to crowdfunding, marketing is now also funded through external investment, having received 63.25 million as of March 2020. That's over 2 years ago. Where's this at? Funding from backers exceeded 300 million in June 2020 and surpassed 400 million in November 2021. The current number of backers is unknown as it does not equal the advertised counter Star Citizens. Uh, Private funding, that doesn't even include like private funding that has gone into this game, dude. Uh, that is an it. insane amount of money just on backers. And again, a lot of this like backers money is based off of kind of what we're talking about in uh, this mechanic that'll happen with games where, specifically with Star Citizen here, they go like from the get go. It's like we're creating this game. Look at we're making these ships that when the game releases, for a limited time you can buy this ship, okay? And by buying this ship, it'll be yours in game. And also by buying this ship, you'll be a backer and this will be like your founder thing for the game, right? And that's how they've raised this amount of money so far. The game still has not released a decade later after starting development, and still has not released 8 years after they said it would be full released. Random vote time. So this is just an example of where I feel like you get into a situation like nice gamer. You get into a situation like more rounds of passes and NFTs will be made available later on. You know what I mean? This is that continual process of that's still in development. We need to keep making it better, but we need your support. Well, we got it to a good point, but we need more from you to make it what we and you want it to be. And that's this whole Star Citizen kind of mechanic and what they've done here as well. I'm not saying that this is what will happen here. I'm saying this has the potential for that to happen. Um, there's just the potential for it. So this feels terrible. It makes people feel scammed. Again, you need to be very careful with how. I mean, in the endeavors that you want to spend your money on, and when it comes to situations like this, be prepared for the fact that you might be getting scammed. And I'm just saying, I can see the potential because of things that have happened with a game like Star Citizen, a game that hasn't even been released 10 years later, that has raised that much money. I can see this kind of mechanic being a very scummy kind of thing for developers to play on, because Star Citizen it is built around the notoriety of the developer as well. And this is the same thing going on here. This is being built on the notoriety of Dr. Disrespect, right? And it's just a very, very slippery slope. And I just want people to be careful. Here's the thing. I do not want to be watching any kind of content that has anything that has the doc in it, because doc is banned on this platform. I do not want to be getting our channel into any trouble, but I do want to be able to take a look at what the game looks like at this point. So let me see something real quick. Goodness, dude. Okay. Yeah, both the videos in this article look. Both videos in this article are like some hands-on gameplay stuff. Wait. It is very, very. They're pretty long videos though, and there's not much to it really. I'll let you if you guys want to take a look at this point. It's not really worth watching in the channel. Uh, yeah, that still hasn't really come to light, by the way. That still hasn't really come to light. I don't think. All I know is that as far as that individual is concerned, it doesn't look like it. He will ever be welcomed back onto this platform, and as such, is a banned individual. And you know, so as far as that goes, content wise, I don't even really I don't even really like saying his name very much. But especially like I don't want to be pulling up any kind of videos that have his him talking, him showing up in it, anything like that. I mean, obviously, this is video gaming news, right? So the fact that he's uh, got this studio that's creating this game and everything is pertinent for us to talk about when we get new info regarding that title. So, Dead Drop, as it were, the title of the game. So we'll talk about it and we'll look into it to the greatest extent possible. I need to probably do a little bit more research in regards to what that line is as far as what's okay and what's not okay regarding somebody that is banned on this platform and not getting myself in trouble. I'm not super educated on what all the ins and outs and the rules are there. So I need to do a little bit more research. But those, I took a quick glance. Those videos are roughly like 10 to 15 minutes long each. And it is very, very basic. You get to see a look at what, you get a look at what the environment has to offer, what they've built up as far as some map stuff. But there's not real like any action packed gameplay. You just get a look at kind of technically what the game looks and feels like. Some of the shooting and reloading stuff like that, walking around, traversing the environment stuff. But if you're interested, the link's right there. Um, Maybe there could be a slew of reasons I think why. Um, why that might not be made public, right? Um, on both sides of things. Let's be honest in the fact that, um, and you could quite possibly be right, but yeah, I mean, um, people and companies would be suing and countersuing for like anything and everything nowadays, and if especially somebody as high profile and as outspoken as that personality is, it could possibly just be a situation where um, whatever. Well, and here's the thing. I mean, it was taken to court, right? It was taken to court, and I can't remember exactly what all came from it, but the ban was upheld. They're not taking that ban down, and I don't know if the what was taken to court and everything was necessarily about the ban being lifted or anything, but Twitch has upheld their side. They're like, this is yeah, you're not getting back on here, and but I and I don't remember all the ins and outs. You're quite possibly right. Maybe it had to do just with the fact that with that personality, they got to a point where maybe they didn't want to deal anymore with because there had been issues in the past, and if there were enough things that had violated uh, terms of service, TOS, over a long period of time, that could show a track record of it creating too much of a liability, I guess, for them as a company to continue to allow him to continue streaming on their platform. That it could absolutely be something like that, you know. So who knows, man? Who knows? But I don't know. I don't know. there's there's so much wild stuff that goes on with people getting banned and quite often there's a lot of occasions where people are like, what did I get banned for? Like that's why I'm always worried. Like even when we've been playing Witcher 3, there's some beasts in the game, some monsters in the game, and their name sounds very, very similar to a very racist word. I've been very, very diligent in trying to ensure that everybody realizes that I am trying to say the name of this monster in the game, because I don't want it to be misconstrued. Because let's be honest, man, I'm not super great at enunciating my words anyways because of my accent, and you know I'm sketched out about stuff on this platform, man. People get banned for things all the time, and they don't always know why. And you're right. I mean, Twitch has been very vague about reasons for banning people quite often in the past, right? Uh, yeah, that's no secret. Um, so I mean, what that comes down to specifically is that anybody, it doesn't matter who it is, anybody on the platform that has been banned, for the amount of time that they are banned for, they cannot be part of anybody else's content, right? If they show up in your content, and I think it's more of a situation of you showing their content live on your stream or having them live on your stream, stuff like that. I don't think it's as much like this situation as me just like saying his name and talking about this, because it's part of like something that we found in a news article. But as far as us, like, maybe if we were to like bring up a video that actually had uh, the doc in it, the doc talking in it, maybe especially to the point of bringing up videos of the doc's own channel, or actually having the doc like on our channel, that's an automatic ban for us, because we're allowing somebody to be part of our live stream that is already banned on the channel. You know what I mean? And it doesn't matter if it's the doc or anybody else, for whatever reason they got banned. If they're banned on the platform, they can't be shown on your platform either, or on your channel either. You know what I mean? And I mean, that's my thing. It's not just in regards to doc, and I think that, as far as us just discussing this individual, what has happened in the past with why he got banned and his game and stuff like that, that's not really that's not a big scare to me. It's the matter of especially like pulling up a video and having him show up, and I don't want to be watching his content. You guys know me, I'm going to err on the side of caution. I don't want to be putting myself or this community in any kind of position where we could potentially end up ourselves having to be shut down for an amount of time, because I love doing this every day. I don't want to end up in again, part of that has to do with me just needing to read up on terms of service in regards to those specific kinds of situations. But for not knowing what happened specifically, he's not the only individual that's ever happened to. I think it's just one of the most no like publicly noted situations, especially because it's a permanent, like lifetime ban for such a very, very famous streamer and content creator. And yeah, it doesn't look good on the part of the platform, I would say. But that's not the only thing that's ever happened either. I mean, you're talking about when you get on the side of people getting banned. There's been issues for a long time on the part of Twitch of, you know, smaller streamers getting banned for a longer amount of time or just getting banned for things that larger streamers don't get banned for. There's been, discrepancies like that where it's like, well, you know, I didn't do anything as bad as, so and so did, and just because they pull in thousands of viewers, they get away with it, and I don't, or what, and it's like, there's been those kinds of things for a long time too, which is doesn't make them look good either. So there are issues, man. Don't get me wrong. Again, I need to be more educated on the TOS specifics in regards to this kind of stuff, and I'm just gonna err on the side of caution always. First footage of Dr. Disrespect's new shooter known as Dead Drop been revealed. Fans are ripping it apart. Although it may be a bit strange to some people that Dr. Disrespect is making a video game, this is not his first time working on a game. In early 2010s, Guy Beam, aka Dr. Disrespect, worked as a community manager at Sledgehammer Games before going on to design maps for Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. He left the industry to focus on his live streaming career after that, but video game development is certainly in his DNA. The content creator found a new studio called Midnight Society last winter and recruited a bunch of industry vets to help make a game that could compete with the best FPS franchises. Now the game Dead Drop has had its first gameplay revealed, and fans are incredibly underwhelmed. Although it's not surprising that a game has been in development for less than a year isn't the most mind-blowing thing in the world. Dr. Disrespect had told a fan in June that it blows out anything from the Call of Duty engine, and to just wait until the July reveal. Now that it's here, fans are mocking the game and the tweets that hyped it up. The recently released gameplay features a firing range in some environments, but it's still far from anything along the lines of a mainline Call of Duty. Some compared the gameplay to Call of Duty Mobile in a derogatory way. Yeah, I mean that's what I was saying that I saw from that gameplay right there was it was just like 10 to 15 minutes of them just like walking around and shooting at some dummies and stuff. Needless to say, the game is years away from actually releasing, but it's expected that select groups of people will continue to play and experience new builds in the coming weeks and months. Whether the game will be any good remains to be seen, but fans are incredibly hopeful. Dead Drop is being designed for FPS fans after years of AAA disasters like Battlefield 2042. So the Dr. Disrespect-led game has a lot of weight on its shoulders. Yeah, I don't know. It's really hard to put too much stock into something that's so early in development and everything too. But um, if you're interested in some of those videos there, I mean, we'll of course see more from Dead Drop as it continues to develop and we move forward and everything, and we'll see what it ends up turning into. Um, yeah, gamer. Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I do. Indonesia bans access to Steam, Epic Games, PayPal, and more. The companies missed the deadline to comply with the country's new requirements. The Indonesian government has blocked access to a range of online services, including Steam, Epic Games, PayPal, and Yahoo, after the companies failed to comply with a new requirement related to the country's restrictive content moderation laws. In line with the rules, companies deemed private electronic system providers must register with the government's database to operate in the country, or otherwise face a nationwide ban. Indonesia gave companies until July 27th to comply and has since banned those that haven't. The requirement is part of an overarching law called MR5, which was first introduced in 2020. As noted by Reuters, The law gives the Indonesian government the ability to obtain data about specific users, as well as coerce companies into removing content that disturbs public order or is considered illegal. Platforms have 4 hours to take action on urgent removal requests, or 24 hours in the case of any other content. A 2021 report from the digital rights group Electronic Frontier Foundation calls Indonesia's laws invasive of human rights, as it puts platforms at the mercy of the Indonesian government, which will ban them if not in compliance with local laws. Earlier this month, the EFF penned a letter to the Indonesian Ministry of Communication and Information, urging the government to repeal its invasive content moderation rules. List of affected services: Yahoo, Steam, Dota 2, Counter-Strike, Epic Games, Origin, Xander, and PayPal. The ban has left users in Indonesia stuck without the ability to process payments or even play certain games. As pointed out by Daniel Ahmad, a senior analyst at Nico Partners, some other popular games and services affected by the ban include Origin, Dota 2, and Counter-Strike. Meanwhile, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, TikTok, Twitter, Netflix, and Spotify registered for a license last week, and all remain available. According to Reuters, Cominfo General Director Samuel Abrajani Pangarapan said the country may give users access to PayPal for a small window of time during the ban. Pangarapan also noted the ban will be lifted once the companies register with the country's database. Unclear when these services will come back online or if they'll register with the Indonesian database. PayPal, Epic Games, and Valve didn't immediately respond to The Verge's request for comment. Wowzers, man, that's kind of wild. Um, we already kind of hit on this a little bit. Video game industry is suffering from a COVID hangover. Even a bottle of Pedialyte and a bacon and egg and cheese can't fix. After explosive growth throughout the pandemic, game sales are finally plummeting back to earth. Um, Download Dark Cloud. Not even 2 gigs. Try it on, dude. Yeah, look, I mean, the video gaming industry as a whole, I mean, we're talking software, hardware, everything, peripherals, all that stuff, has seen relatively like about a over the past year and a half, about a 20% drop in profit. It's still profitable. Yeah, it's you know, the pandemic actually saw gaming thrive to an extent. The development process in gaming was took a toll because of everybody having to work from home and everything. But the fact that people were having to work from home and stay home made it easier for people to play games much more often, which led to an increase in revenue and profit across the gaming industry as a whole. So, of course, as we've kind of worked our way out of a lot of the more drastic regulations and a lot of the lockdown that the pandemic had everybody on, quarantining people, things like that. People are working their way back into the office. They're not able to spend as much time playing games, and therefore aren't going to be spending as much money on gaming. Profit is still up. Not It's just not up as much as it was, say, 2 to 3 years ago. Elden Ring fans are still begging From Software to fix the broken multiplayer months later. Elden Ring is a tale about a land that has been forsaken by its masters, with many of its legends, deities, and gods either decommissioned, missing, or nearly forgotten. Sounds like the PC version, nearly forgotten. Fans of Elden Ring multiplayer might know exactly what that's like because, as far as they're concerned, game developer From Software has left them out in the cold too. In a recent survey conducted among 10,000 players, 90% of the respondents said they felt that the multiplayer experience could be improved, with around 70% noting they didn't feel the mode was balanced. Over 60% of those who replied to the survey, by the way, said they put at least 100 hours or more into the open world masterpiece. The issue is pronounced enough that a group of Elden Ring players have spent months whipping up an entire website that's meant to spread the word about the current state of multiplayer. The 10,000 survey correspondents, meanwhile, came from the fan bases of well-known Elden Ring content creators such as Zeostorm and Chase the Bro. If you've played older From Software games and experienced the PvP there, balanced is likely not the first word that comes to mind. Flawed might be more accurate. Despite that, fans partake in the social mode because it's unlike most things you can experience in video games. Summoning, covenants, invasions, duels, messages have always felt like an extension of the compelling world of the game, not really something tacked on for the sake of being able to have it as a minor selling point. Amir, one of the PvP website's co-founders, told Kotaku. Yo, Super Donut, what's up, dude? Yo, thanks, man. It's good to see you, brother. Yeah. Hey, rest well, dude. Rest well. Happy. I hope your weekend's been okay, man. Happy Sunday. Yeah. It's good to see you, buddy. Part of what sets the Elden Ring situation apart is the audience. This is by far the most popular game From Software has released. So the number of people who might become PvP players is much higher than before. Unsurprisingly, 70% of the survey respondents say that multiplayer is overrun by glitches and exploits. Been hectic? Yeah. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Hopefully stuff slows down for you a little bit, man. For example, there's the helmet swap glitch that players trigger by swapping between certain glintstone crowns. Doing so allows you to restore your HP regardless of how many focus points or flasks you have left, and without the vulnerability of stopping to use an item. In the survey results, a word cloud that gathers some of the most commonly cited issues offers a vague glimpse into what aspects players take issue with, but notably words like bleed and bloodhound step are noted in bold. Anyone who has the misfortune of playing PvP or the areas of Elden Ring that generate NPC attackers based on real-life players' builds, such as the Fia encounter, knows exactly what the bleed pain point is all about. Yo, dude, I've worked retail. I've worked retail, man. Um, yeah, yeah. I mean, what? This is what I'll say. I love engaging with cool people. I hate engaging with people that are not cool, man. That's what like doing this. I talk quite often about how doing this stream, having this channel and having this community, building this community is amazing for me because the people that we continue to attract to this community are amazing, and I absolutely enjoy hanging out with and engaging with everybody that's attracted to this channel and this community on a daily basis. It's an absolute pleasure. Is there the occasional misstep or you know weird situation every once in a while, right? But for the most part, interaction with people with that come into this channel and become part of this community is very, very nice, and I enjoy it very much. But dude, uh, I have actually, I worked my way from. I've had many careers where I had to work in interacting with people consistently, customers and things like that, and I found it to be very, very frustrating. And I kind of tried to work my way into a situation where, uh, career wise, I tried to get to a point of where I basically didn't have to interact with people to the greatest extent possible because, uh, for one, finding people that run on a common sense, logic based system just in their own mind seems few and far between. And for me to deal with people that just don't have common sense is absolutely mauling. Um, I cannot stand it. people that just don't use logic and common sense in their normal thinking process it drives me insane. And that's coming from somebody that's obviously very, well, I'm known for being three-head, right? But I came across a lot of those kinds of people in my previous careers, and dude, it drove me crazy. But just also, people in general tend to just be very hateful and self-centered and close-minded, and I found myself not wanting to deal with people, Cool people are cool. Uncool people are very uncool. Yeah. That's a very great way to put it, man. Yeah. So I can absolutely relate, man. Absolutely. So I'm sorry, man. I really am. I mean, I can totally attest. I've experienced it, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my friend. I hope you get some good rest, though. It's good to see you as always, buddy. It feels like everyone is running builds, like bolstered by the much-hated Moonveil Katana that can shred your health in seconds via stacked status effects, yeah. The incredibly short time it takes to kill another player is one of the biggest issues plaguing Elden Ring's PvP, reads the PvP website. This negatively impacts the gameplay experience, as many players don't even get a chance to fight back and experience the combat before they die in seconds due to a single hit or a quick sequence of attacks. I mean, even whenever I played this game initially, I could tell just from the status effects that I was taking on from enemies that things like bleed and
Hacker Man. He's the most powerful hacker of all time.
Metal, what's up, dude? Metal, what's up, brother? I could tell that things like bleed. What's the other one? God, it's kind of like poison. They stack and they're really, really gross. And I could tell that going through the game playing a build like that would make the playthrough much easier. And this just proves my point that in PvP it's even more gross. Whereas we just went through the game like big strength-based kind of two-hand weapon stuff. Crimson Rot, thank you very much, Helios. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it was like real early in the gameplay, man. I could tell that like the status effects like that drain your life were really, really gross, man, and kind of OP. But the community voted on us doing like a big strength build, and so that's what we went with. I wasn't focused on doing what and we had a lot of cool weapons we could have used, but for us it was just trying to use whatever weapon was the biggest strength requirement, and fashion played a part, but as opposed to doing any kind of status effect stuff. But I could tell it was gross. I'm great, buddy. I'm great, man. What have you been up to? Thanks for asking. Really, the references to bleed build's dominance is plastered all over the website. Part of the issue is that an already powerful strategy is getting pushed into hyperdrive thanks to lag. The site notes that players often have to deal with phantom hits that show they've successfully evaded an attack while their opponent screen shows that they were in fact dinged. Most diehards already know how to deal with bleed builds, but newcomers might not come back after their first few unpleasant, short-lived online encounters. Even if you've experienced players that know that, say you can just use a Colossal class sword to interrupt your bleed-hungry opponent, or that a build consisting of at least 60 vigor and plenty of heavy armor can be a potent defense against bloodletters, the bleed situation still flattens the overall experience. When one build is predominant, it limits what kind of builds everyone else can run if they want to be effective against the biggest possible threats. Much like players force themselves to stay within a certain level range to ensure a good multiplayer experience, the community has to uphold a sort of gentleman's agreement that folks in PvP won't default to the same broken, boring build. There's no guarantee they won't. You can't blame players for using everything they can to their advantage, which is why fans strongly feel that From Software needs to step in. Yeah. Yeah, you too, my friend. Yeah, thanks, Super Donut. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, rest well. Yeah, it's good to see you, man. A lot of stuff lately. Been watching Dragon Ball. Oh, nice, dude. Picked up Fortnite and picked up Fortnite and Lost Ark back up. Right on, dude. Cool. Yeah, I was just talking about Lost Ark, like wondering where the content was at. You know, I mean, I got all the way above 1400 item level right whenever we quit, you know, and I was still enjoying the content, but at this point, I don't really plan on diving back into it. How are you enjoying getting back into Lost Ark, man? And our buddy Wick's been playing a lot of Fortnite, man. The Moonveil Katana, one of the most used weapons for bleed builds, also seems to be a massive problem. Beyond the fact that its weapon skill is a high-speed projectile that exceeds the limitations of most melee weapons, also stuns opponents into submission so you can continue wailing on them. And to add insult to injury, the website notes that it also breaks all forms of passive poise and most instances of hyper armor. Starting a character on a different server, I thought that might be the play. While there were a few improvements we were personally looking forward to, there were far many more regressions in the multiplayer systems, despite the developers' good intentions, Amir said, noting that even the simple act of going into multiplayer is confusing. Unfortunately, Elden Ring makes it very easy to accidentally disable multiplayer even after you use the items meant to trigger the mode. The PvP specifically also largely regressed due to large oversights on things like damage scaling, specific attack mechanics, status effects, poise mechanics, bugs, etc. While games often don't ship in perfect balanced condition, part of what makes this frustrating for longtime fans is that these aren't new issues from software games. Friend on Azina. Oh, that's cool, dude. Right on. Not giving up the link labor. Cool, man. Good. Look. Not new issues for From Software game. Here's my thing, guys. This is kind of what I've been harping on about. I mean, developers in general, right? What I expect from a developer is not perfection. But what I do expect from a developer is progression. To be better than you were before. Be better than you were in your previous iteration of whatever you developed, right? And I have not. There are ways. Obviously, From Software with Elden Ring had a very, very, very dedicated view on content, right? Open world, mount system, stealth. But there were a lot of things that From Software has overlooked. They have traditionally had issues with certain things in their games that they are not improving upon. And that's one of the things that I harped on in my review of Elden Ring when I finished the game. And I'm glad to see somebody else bringing to light these issues, right? And it's not that From Software is the only developer that has these issues, right? That it's just one of the things that I want people to be more aware of. And especially with developers from From Software has this stigma about them that I've seen a lot of people that turn into huge fans of certain developers, and From Software is the top of this list because they developed the Soulsborne games, you know, Sekiro, all that stuff. They are beloved because of this. They are also these fans tend to overlook the things that From Software does badly, or the things that they are not improving upon from game to game to game, because they don't want to see the negative. They only want to see the positive. And that is a very, very bad way to go about looking at developers. Do they bring us great content? Sure. Are they making mistakes still? Absolutely. Okay? And if you aren't pointing out the mistakes that they're making along with the good things they're doing, you're not going to see improvement. You're going to allow the developer to continue to get away with not making improvements on the things that they continue to do wrong in the past for the things that they need to improve upon. Again, I'm not saying that everything they're doing is wrong. They're still making some good stuff, but there have been some things From Software that have been broken and or not well developed for a long time. They just keep importing to their new games and not improving upon. And it needs to be better. And if we're not bringing those kinds of things to light and going, why is this still the same way it was a decade ago? Then it doesn't prompt them to do anything about it, right? Not it doesn't mean that they necessarily will either, but to absolutely overlook it as a gaming community just because you're a fan of that company and think that they can't do anything wrong is definitely not the right way to go about it. Lots of issues are repetitions of issues already made and solved in previous games, and we point this out a lot in our article so the developers can look to their previous solutions for similar problems. Another much reveled ability, Bloodhound Step, is also prominent on the website. On paper, the ability to quickly evade incoming attacks sounds excellent, and it is. When you're up against boss AI, but against other people, the move is absolutely broken. In online play, it effectively renders players invulnerable as long as they have the FP and stamina remaining to continue using it. The website reads, it is also significantly faster than sprinting, so it can be used to freely escape far from any harm at will. Yeah, and you can't blame the players for using everything they can to their advantage, which is why fans strongly feel that From Software needs to step in. This is their job, right? If you're going to have live service, competitive things in your game, not that that's all the game has to offer, it definitely has a huge story and single player aspect to the game, but a lot of people love these titles, the Soulsborne games. They love these titles for the multiplayer. Your job is to balance, man. That's your job. One of the big reasons why people buy these games is for the PvP play, and if it's absolutely skewed and there's stuff that needs to be addressed, that's your job. There are plenty of other issues that aren't just the things people have been complaining about since the release of the game, of course. AFK farmers, yep, we've read about this, who hide from actual combat just to collect runes. Many players believe that the multiplayer rewards aren't particularly motivating, but it's topics like game-breaking spells that have entire articles dedicated to their shortcomings. Here, abilities like Carry and Slicer are highlighted in this case because the spell can be unleashed with the speed of a dagger, but with the damage equivalent of a greatsword. This single spell can, at times, demolish around 40% of a player's health. In short, many aspects of Elden Ring's PvP are messed up. But curiously, beyond providing some well-researched and kindly worded feedback for From Software, the website also acts as a portal for resources that can be enjoyed by anyone who wants to get into Elden Ring's multiplayer community. Granted, it's tough being any kind of Elden Ring fan right now. Everyone appears to be clamoring for another morsel of the year's best-selling game, perhaps in the form of DLC. But at least those of us who've blitzed through the single-player campaign have had some proverbial bones thrown our way. Early updates to the game largely focused on quality of life changes, such as adding map markers and prompts, with some gameplay tweaks that balanced out a wider variety of builds. Important tweaks to aspects like bleed were included in these adjustments, but overall, those who like cracking a furrowed finger to invade another tarnished haven't quite gotten the same kind of TLC that the rest of us have. I actually haven't heard anything about them taking a dedicated stance at improving the PC port either. And the PC port was terrible on release, which I haven't kept up to a great extent, but I haven't read anything in the news either. Besides, anything I had seen really was updates hadn't addressed a lot of the issues. How's Gwent and The Witcher been? Gwent's cool, man. It's a nice kind of change for the weekend. It's been fun. We're probably going to try to change our deck up a little bit today. We've only played, this is only like our, I don't know, fourth, fifth day of Gwent. We haven't been playing like full days of Gwent or anything either. So, really what we've done at this point is just like, we played a few days of just pre-constructed deck stuff. Then it looked like I wanted to dive into monster stuff. So that's what we've been focused on. Because I'm not planning on playing Gwent long term or anything. So we dove into some monster because that's what's fun to me. Monster deck stuff. So we've been trying to collect as many monster cards as we can. And we got a new character skin to use yesterday, which is really cool. That's what I was looking for. And we had built a deck solely around a mechanic called God, what is it? Is it I keep wanting to say Death Wish. Is that it? basically a mechanic that every time like a creature you put out, when it dies, a certain it procs an ability, and it doesn't feel great. It's missing some stuff, so we're gonna take a look today at maybe altering the deck up and see what we could do. But it's a progression you go through when you play a TCG, especially if you're not forking over money for new cards or anything. You get new cards, you find out more about mechanics in the game, you build new decks. So that's kind of where we're at with it. We're just having some fun, building new decks, getting a little bit of new stuff, and it's been fun, man. Gwent's been fun. The Witcher is good. I love the story. There's a ton of loot, man, and I love loot. There's a lot of rough edges in the game, I feel. Traversing the environment feels terrible, especially on your mount, especially on Roach. Roach is the name of the horse, right? It feels awful. He stops running all the time for no reason. Um, he's super buggy. It's like I don't know, man. The mount system in the game is just atrocious. I absolutely hate it, and I've gotten to the point where unless I actually have to travel a very very long distance, I don't even try to get on Roach anymore. I'll just run it. Um, and apparently it was absolutely worse at the when the game first came out, and they've patched it to make it better. This is better, dude. I cannot even believe start to believe what it was like in the first place. um, the mount system is just terrible. Getting prompts for certain things in the game feels bad, especially when you're using the Witcher sense. You're holding down L3 and it like zooms in right on the back of Geralt. And when it does that, it makes it even harder to get your prompts to interact with stuff, like to loot things, and not to mention the fact that like panning the camera down is like very very hard to do. Like looking down is bad, and that's how you tend to get your prompts, right? Is by moving the camera around and panning the camera. And so if you're standing around something and you're not getting, and again getting prompts to interact with things and loot stuff, quite often just feels very bad. So moving the camera can help, but if it's something that's down low, quite often you can't pan the camera down. There's some wonky stuff about the game. Overall, I'm enjoying it. Story's great. Uh, Even though the combat's pretty repetitive, it still feels pretty good. You get a lot of there's finishers, and I feel like the skill tree is pretty fun for the way we're building our character, and there's so much loot in the game, which I love. And there's some great stuff about the game, but there's also some just absolute mauling stuff about how unpolished the way the game feels. And again, I've expressed this before, but I feel like it's I feel like after I haven't played Cyberpunk, but just hearing about how bad Cyberpunk was when it came out, I feel like it's a little bit more clear to me now after playing Witcher 3 and seeing some of the really rough edges that Witcher 3 has, even 7 years after it came out, that it seems like CDPR saw what they got away with Witcher 3 and thought that they could get away with even more in Cyberpunk, and it blew up in their faces. Witcher 3 is fun, but it's got some issues. Um, Save Minecraft, cry players after Mojang starts moderating private servers. Minecraft is on fire. At least that's how it currently feels if you follow the fandom on social media or certain message boards. A portion of the community is up in arms following the news that developer Mojang won't back down from a controversial move to open private servers up to moderation and account-wide player bans. Fans are now rallying around the battle cry Save Minecraft against what they see as an existential threat to massively popular online builder. Yeah. I mean, and that's what I'm trying to get across. I'm enjoying the game. If I wasn't enjoying the game, I wouldn't still be playing it, right? Understand that. It's still a good time. It's just, you know how I am, man, with games. I'm gonna try to break down the most obvious things I see as very, very positive and very, very bad as well. Um, so I'm gonna criticize and praise where I feel it's appropriate. Yeah. Um, um, to an extent. To an extent. I've just the reason I bring it up is because I've had other people come in gamer that have talked about how they got bored with Witcher's combat. That's why I find it important to bring up. I can see where the repetitiveness comes in for The Witcher Three's combat, but I am not bored with it. It is a bit repetitive, but I am not bored with it. It feels it's very satisfying. The combat in Witcher 3 is very satisfying. It feels when you connect and you parry and things like that. It feels very good. It's a very well developed combat system, and the fact that you have the signs and everything that play into the combat, the bombs, decoctions and stuff help with buffing and debuff and then I think one of the things that's the most satisfying about the combat is the dismemberment and the finisher stuff in the combat. Anytime you do a finisher, it like kind of slows down Matrix style, and Geralt will like decapitate somebody in a really cool move, or he'll like you know trip them up and throw them in the air and then like cut their legs off or something. Dude, it is so satisfying, and I never get bored of it. So I've had other people talk about how combat can get repetitive, and that got boring to them. It doesn't. The combat, I can see the combat getting repetitive, and it is to an extent, because as far as what you're doing in the combat, it's basically just dodge, parry, light attack, heavy attack, right? At its core. But it feels good to me. And I'm not bored with it at all. And we're like 20 days in. So that's why I bring it up. But as far as an ARPG goes, most of the time, you're going to deal with a good amount of repetitiveness in it, right? And it depends on how it's developed as to whether it's going to continue to be engaging and feel good as opposed to being boring, right? Uh, and so I don't know. I feel like they did a pretty good job with it. Yeah. Yep. Basically. Um, Fans are rallying around the battle cry "Save Minecraft" against what they see as an existential threat to massively popular online builder. If Mojang thinks that every skilled coder who is against the system won't try and embarrass him by breaking the system, I would bet against Mojang. Big time Minecraft YouTuber Taylor Ant Venom Harris tweeted, "Not a threat, by the way, just calling it like it is. Hashtag save Minecraft." Another player was more succinct. Flip 1.19.1. They wrote in a tweet that's since blown up. Some are blaming the studio itself. Others believe the policy change is coming from Microsoft and are blaming the tech giant. Um, Mojang and Microsoft declined to comment. The hate and the hashtag are all because of Windows version 1.19.1 update for Minecraft Java Edition. Players can now report one another for inappropriate chat messages or dangerous behavior, even on private servers. The type of behavior that will get you banned is hate speech, bullying, harassing, sexual solicitation, or threatening others, Mojang wrote in a fact. That's awesome. It should be. It should be that way. The reports go to Minecraft moderators who then determine what follow-up actions should be there, if any, including player bans. It sounds like a good system, especially for a game marketed towards kids that anyone can play. But it's also a major intrusion into a part of Minecraft that has historically been ruled purely by players. While Mojang said it won't be monitoring online chat or using bots to moderate, players still fear the new tool could be abused to wreak havoc on private servers. The thinking goes that players could conspire to maliciously report someone on a private server, then get them banned from the entire game. An exploit called Gaslight version 2 is one tool players have used in the past to manipulate in-game chat logs, and its developers claim it still works in the latest version of the game. We recognize that private servers function independently from Mojang Studios, and many use that independence to create remarkable Minecraft innovations that enrich the community. The company wrote last month, at the same time, it maintains that it needs to hold players to its terms of service no matter where they're playing the game. Every player should enjoy a safe Minecraft experience wherever they choose to play. Mojang previewed the changes several weeks ago, but the backlash is building after the studio made clear it's not ready to reconsider them. In a comment that's now been voted over 1,000 times on the Minecraft subreddit, community manager Mojang Mish wrote that while the studio valued feedback, it does not mean that feedback will always change the design principles Mojang Studios adheres to. Mojang Mish also called on fans to stop hounding developers about the issue in unrelated threads and discussions. Harassment does not help anyone, not the devs who receive it, nor the players who are passionate about an upcoming change, they wrote. We want to maintain a constructive and open dialogue with you, and this kind of behavior inhibits that. Bans range from 3 days to permanent, while Mojang says all reports and appeals will be reviewed by human beings. Some players are still worried about edge cases, as well as the freedom to run private servers as they see fit. This has led to mods to try and circumvent the new moderation system. One program called No Chat Reports has already been downloaded over 200,000 times. It says it strips cryptographic signatures from messages so they're no longer associated with a particular Minecraft account. Others in the community have taken a more nuanced approach. YouTuber Zixum Avoid, who runs his own private servers, argued in a recent video on the subject that players aren't fairly weighing the abuse and predatory behavior that moderation would help catch. There's going to be good that comes out of the system, he said. People will be protected, and I feel like a lot of things in life are a trade-off. Yeah, thank you, man. This is, what a great statement. Look, I get it. You know, honestly, I feel like this is way overdue. And people, obviously, I would say, I have to say that it sounds like most people that are going to be against this implementation are probably people that quite often use some pretty nasty, discriminatory type of communication and hate speech, or engage in some kind of, abusive, significant, toxic behavior and abusive, consistent abusive language in their gameplay, and as far as I'm concerned, you guys know how I feel. There's no place for it, especially when it comes to, kind of prompting, whether it be something like prompting people to hurt themselves, or discriminating against people for whatever reason it may be, for, anybody being who they are, discriminating on them for that, as long as they're a good person. You know, hate speech, none of that kind of stuff is acceptable in the world, let alone our gaming worlds. And games need to be doing more of this kind of stuff, implementing these systems of reporting, and even who it was. I think it's is it Riot that's actually implementing bots that listen to actual VoIP. They listen to speech, and try to discern any kind of speech that could break TOS and auto log it, record it, and send it to a moderator, a human moderator, so they can review it and bam. It's like in a beta right now for them to be implementing this and testing it out, which is awesome. Look, as far as I'm concerned, um, if this has anything to do with a type of moderation that makes the server safe for children, there should be the option to toggle that, right? Where there could be more adult oriented and where that option is toggled off, and you need to be like check a box for 18 plus to be part of this server, what have you. Whereas servers can be created more for child appropriate content, and which that moderation setting has to be toggled on, and it prevents a lot of nasty, more inappropriate stuff for youth won't be allowed on that server. But in regards to, and there's always going to be the issue of, the whole gaslighting scenario where it's false. There's false reporting, and there's going to have to be ways to find out what is false reporting and what is not. And I'm guessing, Mojang is working on this. But at the end of the day, I am right alongside Minecraft and Mojang and making sure that people who violate terms of service, people who are not allowing people to feel inclusive and safe and welcome within their gaming environment, people that might be trying to do things like groom young individuals into negative kinds of culture, things like that, are removed from these games. I feel like that is absolutely needed, not just in this game, but in the gaming industry, in the gaming world. And I'll praise them for it. So there are going to be a lot of people that are upset. And what I would say is most people that are probably upset, not all, most of the people that are probably upset are people that probably engage in a lot of very, very toxic culture. Yeah? And that's why they're upset about it. I can no longer engage in this kind of toxic behavior that I am used to and that I want to be a part of within the Minecraft world. And so they're throwing a fit about it, right? I mean, you can tell by the way some people talk. Like, look at this. I mean, just looking at the way somebody like this talks, I mean, it's not hard to see. This is an adult child saying this. It's like this does not come off as a very mature individual. And sorry, but if you're wanting like a response from a corporation, great way to go about it here. Okay, fantastic. Oh, dude, I thought we had another article. Yes, that's it, guys. That this news segment actually went a lot longer. I mean, I don't know, man. I was kind of blabbing on, but you guys, were. It's your fault. It's chat's fault. You guys get me talking, dude. Well, and that's the thing that I was trying to get at is I was just kidding. I love you guys, and I love talking with you guys about Wick's fault. Yeah, yeah, I got you here. Yeah, that's whose fault it is. Yeah, there we go.
All right, that one was on me.
Yeah, yeah. See, Wick's fault. Um, so Yeah, no, I mean, and that's what I'm trying to get at. Look, I mean, I think if there was any kind of like moderation going on that had to do with if they're implementing some kind of moderation system that is overarching and there's no way for anybody to create a server to select whether or not there was moderation taking place that just you know takes out things like profanity or you know stuff like that, then I don't necessarily agree with that, right? Because uh, there should be the option to have more adult oriented servers and more, as opposed to a younger audience oriented servers, child appropriate servers, if you will. And I totally agree with that. So if there's moderation to an extent where there's that kind of thing, there needs to be an option for it because not everybody wants to have things moderated to that extent. And I absolutely would agree with that for sure. Um, but and I mean, we talk about that quite often. There, especially in competitive live service competitive multiplayer games, I love engaging in a little bit of some competitive trolly kind of banter, but a lot of people can't keep it at that level. A lot of people kind of lose their composure, yeah, if they start getting, if especially if they're losing. If they're losing and they start getting trolled a little bit, they lose their composure, and that's where they start uh, really throwing out a lot of the potential for somebody to throw out hate speech and really volatile, toxic kind of stuff that is against most games' terms of service. I think that's where a lot of that stuff comes in, right? And there's just no place for it, man. There's a big difference between that kind of talk being discriminatory, um, and just a little bit of competitive trolling of people, right? And so I think it's important for companies to keep that in mind. Not everything needs to be, you know, child appropriate. That's not the thing. But especially in a game like Minecraft, I think they definitely see the need because it is a game that appeals to a child audience quite often. There needs to be the option to have child more child appropriate servers where content and grooming and things like that cannot take place, right? So I think they're working their way towards a much better uh, environment here for everybody all the way around. And but I agree with you, Metal. I do agree with you there. Absolutely. Um, there are a lot of adults that play the game, and if outside of things that would be breaking terms of service and that shouldn't be allowed in the world or the gaming world as far as discrimination, hate speech, things like that, they shouldn't have to have things moderated if they don't want it. Let it be an adult type server. Um, that'll be it for the news. You guys rock. We're gonna move on to some Gwent and maybe a little bit of Fall Guys later. See what we can get into. Yeah, I don't know, man. You guys rock, and I appreciate you so very much. So, everybody that's part of this community, thank you. Everybody that was part of the news segment this morning, you're amazing. And I don't know if you're viewing this as a VOD on YouTube and you're enjoying these news segments, then consider hitting that like and subscribe button, and I'll see what you can do about coming and hanging out with all myself and all the other outsiders here in the community when we do these news segments at 6:00 a.m. CST every single day at the beginning of all of our streams. Okay. Other than that, everybody just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we will catch everybody tomorrow for August 1st edition of Video Gaming News.